Hi everyone, my name is Doug Tracey. I run a company called DT Innovation Limited. I also have another business called Happy Hour Group Limited, which I'll explain a bit later on. Just wanted to explain my background. I wasn't particularly academic at school. In fact, in my A-levels, I got a C, a D, and ungraded and dropped out of a subject. I did go to university, but didn't particularly get a huge amount out of it, apart from socialization and having fun. My agency basically does digital marketing. I build websites and I do workshops for the Business Growth Hub, who I used to work for as a digital growth advisor. So I help businesses to modernize and improve their IT systems within the business, and also then to integrate those within their website to help to streamline their customer process. May sound like lots of things, but it's quite a complicated world out there. So after a few years of doing this after university, I did a multimedia degree at university, and I learned quite a lot about the skills that I use these days. However, again, as I said, it wasn't particularly well focused for me, and I was more keen to get out and go and do something like this. So I did end up doing 5 years of ski seasons, and came back from that and worked in telesales for a few years, and then moved into the Business Growth Hub eventually, and managed to explain and work with a number of big companies in the UK and Manchester, and help them to modernize and grow their businesses. So DT Innovation came about while I was working at the Growth Hub, and it essentially was driven by my want to try and help people to modernize their businesses without the wool being pulled over their eyes. So I created DT Innovation while working the Business Growth Hub because there was some people that I worked with, some of the clients I worked with, who'd worked with agencies and had their fingers burnt in the past by people that weren't particularly honourable, and they didn't explain the technology to people, so they didn't really understand what was being done or not done in lots of cases. So yeah, I like to help people, and I help them to understand the technology around it first. So I do the workshops with the Business Growth Hub for explaining the intermediate digital marketing is one of the workshops, and SEO. So people can understand a bit about search engine optimization and different elements of digital marketing so that people can understand and track the return on investment from what they're spending. So yeah, it may sound quite technical, but everything I've done, I've learned myself and used the amazing tools of YouTube, which has been absolutely fundamental to everything I've done, and Google for helping me to build hosting solutions, which are very solidly set up. I've built a number of big websites for some really good businesses, which I like to think they look quite professional, and they do the job very well for the customers. I build on my website hosting in Hetzner and with the virtual and control panel, which you can see just here. So you can see I've got a pretty decent processor in there. You don't have to spend a fortune on hosting. If you host it yourself and can manage it yourself, this cost me about 40 euros a month plus VAT, and it's got pretty good specs for the computer and server they use. So I build all my servers on there, and I have a lot of customers who I build sites for. So they vary in their complexity. So this was a particularly complicated one for AlphaLed, and Navitas was possibly more out of the box in their style, but it was still a very useful workshop to run. I do lots of search engine optimization work for my customers as well, and I've helped one of my customers get to the top of Google for Absol Window Cleaning Manchester, so HCS, one of my clients. And if we search for a UK-wide search, hopefully they'll come up. They come up at the top of the Google Maps, and they come up second or third position in Google for nationwide search. So I like to think I've done some good things with my customers, and I hope that they're very happy with the work I do. I also do some video editing as well. So I've just started building some new videos for HeatSense Cables, who are one of my customers. I provide digital marketing services over and above the SEO that I do with them. Their server will load. And as part of that, I'm now going to start doing some video editing for their very cool systems and technology they use in their braiding. So cable braiding is insanely complicated, and The machinery, as you can see, spins incredibly fast. So we've started doing some work on the slow motion video. I'm still working on getting the flicker off there. But essentially that's going to help them to demonstrate the solutions that they have and how they manufacture in the UK, which is always a good thing for these days. So I've set up the Snowball Group, and again, this is where, when you've got the skills to do building websites, you can have an idea and start to build a snowball around it. And essentially it came about from me a few years ago. I was trying to work on a project and had lots of people bought into it, including Red Bull, for a massive event in a ski resort in North America for testing equipment for ski reviews. So my friends own skireview.com and snowboardreview.com, and the plan was to do a massive event. Red Bull was bought into it. I had videographers set up for it and had lots of different people bought in. And the snowball had grown to a point where I could have essentially taken that somewhere else. But sadly, it didn't take off because my friends actually let me down. So yes, so there's lots of different ways you can do things. And this idea and concept is still under development. So I'm looking to build this and flesh this out at some point too. But when you've got the skills and you've got the time to do this sort of thing, it's really nice to be able to kind of get an idea and actually flesh it out a bit to try and get some buy-in from some people. So yeah. So that's me. I run Happy Hour Networking as well, which is a networking event. It was face-to-face before pre-COVID, and essentially we did a number of events in a few different places around Manchester, including one of these towers, which is the North Tower. In fact, two of the towers. So we've had one in Cloud 23 in the Hilton, but in the North Tower, we did one as the tower had just been finished in the penthouse, and we had 120 people there. So had some great events, and it's always a good way to drive leads to the business through that route as well. So yeah, I hope that's been useful, and if you've got any questions, let me know.